Hello, Julie here, and in this video, I am going to be answering some not frequently asked questions, just asked questions. And who's asking these questions? I am. Because while I do have 4,000 subscribers, I just passed 4,000, so thank you so much. I'm very happy and very thankful for everyone who watches my videos. I know that if I post out a call for questions, no one's gonna comment. No one's gonna ask anything. And you know what they say, if you want something done, do it yourself. So I came up with questions for myself to answer. It sounds very self-centered, and you know what? This is my channel, and I can do whatever I want. So here goes. I should probably introduce myself for those of you who don't know who I am. My name is Juli. Juli rocks. And not like you rock. No, it's ROX. Okay, it's a name. I am an amateur artist, and I post art-related videos. I, at least in the past, enjoyed making my own art supplies, which is where most of y'all are subscribing from. Thank you. I also enjoy thrifting for art supplies. I enjoy talking about art topics, talking about the highs and lows of art and life, including how frustrating it could be being a beginner artist. And I am currently 28 years old. So, introduction aside, let's dive into these questions. I have different kinds of questions, so art-related questions and then just regular get-to-know-you personal questions, and I'll alternate between the two. So first question is art-related. How long have you been drawing for? I started learning art back in 2016 when I was a few months away from turning 21. Right now, I'm a few months away from turning 29. So it's been an entire 8 years, which is wild. I should probably be a lot better at drawing by this point. Probably. But you know what? I don't mind where I'm at for the most part. Sometimes I do a little, but ultimately you improve with practice. And during those 8 years, I've just been casually dabbling in art. I haven't really spent the time to sit down and truly develop my art skills. I just kind of paint whatever I want, which is probably why after 8 years my art still looks like I used to say like a child drew this, but I feel like I'm at like the teenager stage, like a 15-year-old. So we're growing up. Slowly but surely, we're growing up. Hopefully by the time I'm 40, I'll reach a young adult level of art skill, but who knows? Question number 2, where do you live? I live in Vancouver, Canada, which is on the west coast of Canada, right by the ocean, the Pacific. I was born and raised here, but my parents were not. They were born and raised in different countries, and they met here and raised my siblings and I here. Vancouver is, it is a lovely city. It's beautiful. We have mountain views all over the place. Even when you're just commuting to work, you could see mountains in the distance. It does rain a lot here though. Last time I checked, 2/3 of the year here in Vancouver is either raining or overcast. It rains a lot, especially in the fall and the winter. And also the spring. In the summer, we don't get much rain, which is amazing. And granted, our summers are like 2 months long here. The rest of the year, rain, rain, rain. And it could get a little bit depressing. There's something called seasonal affective disorder, which I don't think is an official disorder, but it's something my friends and I always joke about. And the acronym is literally SAD, SAD. But if it is an official disorder, I feel like I have it. My mood is heavily affected by the weather. And, sometimes it can rain for 3 weeks straight here. While I live in Vancouver right now, I don't know if I'll live here in the coming years. Moving to Spain has always been in the back of my mind, and I'm probably going to do it within the next year or two. So I hope y'all will come along with me for that adventure. Question number 3, what got you into art? As silly as it may sound, the show Miraculous Ladybug. And yes, it's a cartoon show aimed at children, but I loved animation. I used to want to work in animation production. That didn't really pan out. I got a taste of working in production and I did not like it. It was not my flavor. But for the longest time, that was my dream job. So I absolutely adore animation, and Miraculous Ladybug has been one of my favorite shows for years now. It came out, I think, in 2015, so a year before I got into art. And I was very invested in the whole Tumblr sphere of this show. I would always see people post their fan art, and I just so badly wanted to connect with this show in the same way, aka creating art based off of something that I loved. So I bought a sketchbook and I started off by copying fan art. And then from there, I joined my university's drawing club, and I didn't even seek out the club. The club found me in a way, and it was a very serendipitous course of events that led me to continue drawing. Because without that club, without stumbling upon it, I probably would have lost interest in drawing, or I probably would have just been so frustrated with trying to learn by myself. But having a group that I went to weekly who was very supportive and kind and gave so many tips, that really helped me to actually improve on my art. So thinking back, it's a pretty wild story, and maybe one day I'll share it. Question number 4. What do you do for work? Oh boy. This might be another video, but so far in my life, I think last time I counted, I've worked like over 15 jobs. And I'm sure there'll be 15 more. I do love trying new things, and I'm also very indecisive, which you could probably tell by my art and the things that I draw. I'm always switching mediums and subjects and styles, and I'm just very confused and scattered. So I'm really trying to focus on just one thing at a time, but my mind is constantly pulling me elsewhere. Like, what if I tried this? What if I do this? What if I explore this art style or this medium or live in this country or try this job? And this is a constant thing. Like every day, every single day, my mind is drawn to a new what if. I love that different things spark my curiosity, but at the same time, I think this lack of focus is really holding me back. Anyways, right now, I do enjoy what I do. Basically, I work as a public school secretary. And I know when you think school secretaries, or at least when I think school secretaries, I think middle-aged white woman. I'm very much not that, but I do love it. I love being in a school setting. Like when I was working in Korea as a teacher, I did not enjoy teaching, but I did enjoy working at a school. I like that the work that I do is towards a good cause, I guess you can say. It's not towards making someone money. I don't entirely feel like I'm being taken advantage of like I was at the nonprofit center that I worked at. For the work that I'm doing, the job does pay pretty well, but then again, this is Vancouver, and even if you're making 6 figures here, I feel like you're still gonna struggle. And I'm very much not making anything near that, but it's a great job. Everyone that works in the school district is so friendly and kind. There are a lot of opportunities to move between different schools. Even though I am on call, I'm still able to fill 4 to 5 days a week of work, which is awesome. As someone who is a bit scattered and always likes to try new things, I think for now, it's great that I'm able to jump between different schools. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm still new to the job. Who knows how I'll feel about it a year from now, but for now, yeah, I'm really liking it. Question number 5. This is a common question for artist Q&As, so that's why I decided to throw it in here. Did you go to art school? Absolutely not. I think it just takes a simple look at one of my drawings to know for a fact that I did not go to art school. No, I studied media and mass communications. Question number 6. What's your favorite food? Whew, okay. Listen, I've never claimed to be a complicated person, okay? My favorite food is pizza. I'm sorry. I wish I could give you something a lot more exciting. But no, my favorite food is pizza. I love pizza. I could eat pizza every day. The thing is, and while, of course, I love a good Italian pizza or Domino's pizza, for the most part, I make my own pizzas. So hopefully that gives me a little bit of spice, a little bit of credit, okay? I'm not entirely basic. I'm just partially. But yes, my favorite food's pizza. I love making my own pizzas. My favorite kind of pizza is Hawaiian, but lately I've been really enjoying a veggie pizza. Question number 7. How would you describe your art style? I would describe it as scattered and confused. I feel like every week I'm obsessed with a new medium, a new subject, a new style, and I can't really settle on anything. But in terms of drawing and painting within my comfort zone, watercolors, flat washes, cute girls in more of a cartoony style. I'm trying to step away from that. I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm avoiding lining my work and I'm just going in with the watercolors. So that's what I've been doing lately. Nothing groundbreaking, I'll be the first to admit. In terms of contributing to the art world, I feel like my style is nothing special at all. Hopefully one day it will be once I develop it, but for now, it really isn't. And I never really set out to shake up the world. Question number 8. What was your favorite school subject? In high school, my favorite subject was Spanish. I loved learning Spanish, and looking back, I wish I studied in university. Money was always a bit tight, so in my mind, I just thought there are so many resources out there to learn languages. Why would I pay so much money in university to learn it here? But I wish I learned languages in university, and I wish I minored in Spanish or majored in linguistics or something like that, because that's definitely way more up my alley than communications. Basically, I only studied communications because I wanted an academic degree that I could apply to working in production. And that just felt like the most responsible degree to get for the kind of work that I was looking for. As an adult, I realized that an arts degree is pretty much the same across the board. I could have studied anything. And I would be just as qualified to do whatever jobs I've had in the past, because most of them just look for a university degree, and it could be any degree. And also, if you're good at interviewing, or if you're able to really pick out the skills that you learn from your degree, you could apply those skills to so many different jobs, even if the subject was something completely different. So I wish I went into university and majored in something that I enjoyed, because when I look back at my university experience, I have a lot of regrets. Like, I could have had more fun with it, and I could have taken away more from it. Anyways, the past is the past. In university, though, none of the communications degrees were my favorite. I enjoyed anthropology, I enjoyed sociology, and I really enjoyed publishing. So I did take a few publishing courses just to fill in some electives, and those were probably my most favorite. Question number 9. Why did you start this channel? Like I said, I loved animation. This channel started off as an animation theory channel, and it was called Animation Discourse, and I had an accompanying blog, which I think no longer exists. I think I stopped paying for the domain probably a year ago. But in that blog, I basically discussed animation critically, and I did the same with my YouTube channel. I gained about 1,000 subscribers from that channel, and that's actually what got me monetized in the first place, because one of my videos about Miraculous Ladybug did really well. And to this day, none of my other videos ever surpassed that. It's now on private because it has nothing to do with art. But I switched over to an art channel, and that was probably around the same time when I went through a bit of an identity crisis because my heart was no longer in production anymore, and I just wanted the time to pursue art. And if you know anything about working in film and TV, you don't have time for a personal life. So that's essentially why I decided it wasn't for me. I started this channel at first because I wanted to discuss the cartoons that I loved, and then later on I wanted to share my art, and I wanted to become a part of the artist YouTube space because I really enjoyed watching art videos and I wanted to contribute myself. Question number 10. What are your hobbies outside of art? Right now, I'm really enjoying some Latin dances, a little bit of salsa and bachata. I've also done pottery in the past, and I have a class coming up soon. Health and fitness have always been a big part of my life. That's probably the most constant thing in my life throughout the years. It's art and also health and fitness. I enjoy going to the gym because it feels good and because I want to be healthy. And some days I don't work that hard. I'll just go on the elliptical for like an hour, but other days I'll really push it. I've been enjoying spin classes lately. I've been loving TRX lately as well. I love riding my bike. I used to enjoy blogging. I have a blog and I do like writing, but lately I've just been focused on getting these videos out. The thing is, I do get my writing fix while scripting for these videos. So this video specifically is not scripted, but 90% of my videos are. So if all my videos were unscripted, I probably would have more of a desire to write because I'd want to use that outlet. But for now, that's pretty much satisfied. I also enjoy listening to audiobooks, like romance, rom-com audiobooks. Nothing heavy. My taste in books is incredibly basic. Like if you look up top 100 rom-com novels of this decade, I've probably listened to like half of them. Yeah, I'm really quite simple. And I also enjoy language learning. I signed up for a Spanish course and I really want to get better at my Espanol. So most of my days are filled with art, YouTube, exercise, Spanish, and other random classes that I decide to take, whatever the phase of the month is. So this month is salsa and bachata. Next month will be pottery. The month after that, maybe I'll focus a lot more on Spanish. Maybe I'll sign up for an in-person class. Who knows? Question 11. What is your favorite medium to work with and what is your least favorite? My most favorite, of course, is watercolors. I love watercolors. I love how simple it is. I love that you could just take a palette and a bit of water and you can mix a million different colors. You could do different techniques with it. You can do a flat wash. You can make something more textured, wet on wet, wet on dry. I love how simple it is, how easy it is to set up, and how versatile it is. My least favorite medium, in terms of the mediums that I've had a decent amount of experience with, I would say used to be gouache because I didn't know how to use it, but now I'm starting to really love gouache, would probably be acrylics. Oil is something that I've dabbled in, but I haven't worked with it enough to really know its kinks. But with acrylics, I feel like I've done it enough to know that it frustrates me every time I sit down and try to paint with acrylics. It's something that I do want to get better at, but at the same time, oh my god, it's so tedious. And I just find it tedious to set up your palette, lay out all your colors, mix colors, and constantly remember to spray your paints, otherwise they'll dry. And because I don't work with the medium often, I just find it so frustrating when I get around to it. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm constantly painting over my mistakes. I just feel like the entire time I'm stressed, anxious, and I want to pull my hair out. Over the summer, I did take an acrylic course. It was only 2 weeks long, but on one of the days, we were painting outside, and it was a sunny, hot, windy day. And I set up all of my paints. I put them all out, had my palette in my hand. I set up my easel. I put my canvas up, and then I looked at my subject and I just stared, and I was so overwhelmed, and I was like, oh my God, how am I even going to start this? What colors am I even going to start with? I have no idea what I'm doing. My paints are all over my mat. How am I supposed to gather all my paints and set up my palette and do everything while standing up and not having any table space? And then it was windy. I was like, as soon as I put paint down, it's gonna dry. How do people do this? What am I doing? And then the teacher came around to check on me, and she was like, how's it going? And it was an hour into the class. I looked at my blank canvas. I looked at my blank palette with no paint on it yet. And I literally started crying. It wasn't like sobbing. I was just tearing up. And I just looked at my teacher and I was like, I am so stressed. I don't think I can do this. And she was like, oh my God, it's fine. Just go inside, paint out, take a picture of what you want to paint and just paint inside. So yeah, that was absolutely humiliating. I do cry very easily, but that was just... I don't remember the last time I've been that overwhelmed. It was probably when I first got to Korea and I just started teaching there and I had no idea what I was doing. Like, that was the same level as moving your entire life to a foreign country, doing a job you have no idea how to do. I was at like the same stress level as I was trying to paint outside with acrylics. So acrylics, I've realized, not for me, for now. I will get back into them eventually because it's that medium that eventually enough time will pass that I forget how frustrating it is, and then I'll want to paint with acrylics again. So hopefully eventually I get better, but for now, yeah, I would say it's my least favorite medium. Number 12, what is your favorite book? My favorite book is Arsenic and Adobo. It is a cozy mystery. I love cozy mystery books. They're just very fun and low stakes and not intense, but they still have that whodunit element to it. And usually there's a sprinkle of romance, so it's just everything I love in a book. Also, I'm part Filipino, so it just appeals to me on that level as well. And I just love seeing that a Filipino author wrote a book about a Filipino protagonist and her Filipino family, and the book just gained so much traction. It's become this entire series. I think there are 4 books out so far. I'm waiting on book number 5. I'm just loving it so far. It's just such a fun read. Number 13, what is a tip you would give to a beginner artist? My tip is don't put too much pressure on yourself, because as soon as you put so much pressure on yourself, especially when your skill level isn't there yet, art goes from being this fun activity that you do during your spare time to something that's incredibly frustrating. It just takes the joy out of it. And when you're at the beginner stage, you need that joy to propel you to move forward. And it needs to be the joy of just sitting and creating and learning. It can't be the joy of your end result being something amazing, because it's not going to be. And that's just something that you have to come to terms with. Your art will be mediocre. It might even be bad. But you could still love it, even though it's bad. And you could still love the process and enjoy the process, even though it's bad. So don't put too much pressure on yourself, and just really focus on enjoying the process of doing something creative. Even if that's like my beginner stages of copying fan art, if that's what makes you happy, and if that is what brings you joy, then do it. Obviously, don't pass it off as your own work. When you're a beginner, do what you can to stay engaged with pursuing art, because learning art is very different to learning a lot of other things, because there are no clear steps to get to where you want to be. Because everyone's different, everyone learns differently, everyone draws and paints differently, everyone has their own styles and their own way of doing things. When it comes to art, there's just not a clear-cut way to really learn in terms of going through specific steps. A lot of it comes to building intuition when it comes to colors that look good together, when it comes to composition. So it's important that you find joy in the process of not creating something amazing, but just in the process of creating, period. Whether that be copying fan art or drawing your favorite anime characters or drawing and redrawing pictures of your cat. If it's something you enjoy doing, always remember that's what you like and go back to it in those moments when you need the extra boost of confidence or the extra boost of joy. I'm not saying don't challenge yourself, do it, but try to balance it out with things that are actually very enjoyable to create. That was my final question. I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was quite self-centered, but I really had fun recording it, and I had fun drawing this art piece as well. This is a self-portrait that I drew with my Mei Liang watercolors and my Canson Mixed Media sketchbook, which is my favorite combination. I have our family bird, his name is Paprika, on my shoulder, so he is featured in this self-portrait of sorts. And this will be my new YouTube avatar. Do you remember back in the day when creating a new YouTube avatar was a big deal? Yeah, not so much anymore, is it? I kind of miss those old school YouTube days, but times are changing, and I guess we gotta change with them, don't we? I really liked how the sketch turned out, but I didn't love how the end result turned out. So I actually took a photo of it and I played around with it a bit in Procreate. I made some edits to make it look more like me because I realized in the process of adding color to the sketch, she no longer looked like me. So I made the cheeks a bit fuller, I made the nose a bit more bulbous, I rearranged the eyes a little bit, and I just used the liquify tool to pull different parts. And I also changed the color slightly because I wanted to make my skin a bit darker. When I tell you guys that 90% of the time, the person I'm drawing or painting never actually ends up looking like that person, they end up looking like a completely different person, I wasn't joking. Anyways, it was fun to pull this into Procreate and make some edits, and I really like how it turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed getting to know me a bit more. If there are any other questions that you want me to answer, feel free to comment them down below. Perhaps one day I'll be able to make a real Q&A with proper questions from you guys. But for now, that's just not the reality. Still, I really enjoyed this and I hope you guys did too. Until next time, stay creative and I will see you in the next video. Peace.